Joining us now is George Ferguson of Bloomberg Intelligence. George, let's get straight into this one. The names will change. How is the leadership going to change?
Well, I mean, I think they need to go out and get themselves Boeing needs to get themselves a very good CEO that's from a manufacturing and an engineering base and not so much a financial base. And so it remains to be seen who they go out and find. But I think that's the next big order for Boeing.
George, this felt like it was on the table from the very beginning, but not for the company. It's something that Brooks Sutherland alluded to, that perhaps they didn't realise how big this might turn out to be. When do you think the defining moment for them actually was in the last few months? When did they realise that maybe they need some big changes?
I mean, to me, the defining moment was just all the, actually, I think it was more a death of 1,000 cuts, right? It was just all the little problems that were coming through the manufacturing process, especially at Spirit AeroSystems, of just airplanes that just weren't completed correctly. And so I don't think it was any big event, but just the constancy of the problems coming out that were the beginning of the end for this.
George, as they search for another chief executive officer, how much of a liability is it that there isn't a robust, multi-pronged industry here with many players, that there really is just a duopoly, one in Europe and one in the U.S.?
No, I think it's definitely a challenge because of that. I don't think there's a wide talent base here, but I think the suppliers also are probably a fertile ground potentially for another CEO. I think especially as you get into some of the engine manufacturers, there may be some talent down there they can go find. That business is a super tight tolerance business, heavy engineering business. I think that's what they need for the next CEO. So I think you'll see it broader. You'll see it inside the supply chain as well, and maybe even outside. But I think it has to come from a really strong manufacturing, someone with a really strong manufacturing background and engineering background.
What do you think this means for how quickly they can reach a deal with Spirit Aero, how quickly they can incorporate the trouble child, really, that they've blamed for a lot of the problems?
Yeah, so it's interesting, right? Because I think they said Calhoun's going to finish out the year, which to me seems like a long period of time to do this transition, because I feel like they really need to build confidence now, and they really need to get on the road to fixing the company now. And so I would hope this doesn't mean Spirit AeroSystems is pushed off until next year sometime. I think that's already well underway, and I would think it would continue, and they would try to get that closed as soon as possible, because I think the road to success goes through that acquisition. The road to successfully stabilizing and improving quality for the 737 goes through Spirit, and so I think they can't wait on it.
George, what do you make of the fact that the board has been doing a listening tour and meeting with airline executives, but without Calhoun there?
Well, I mean, to me, when I heard that was, I thought that was a clear sign. Well, one, their most important customers were very concerned and wanted to meet with the board. And without Calhoun there, to me, that was a clear sign that they were probably pushing to get a change to the top of Boeing. Again, they need a confidence builder, they need an operator, and I think the airline CEOs saw that and brought that to the board.
Given the fact that you think this person needs to be an engineer mind, do you think this is ripe for potentially a split in this job? Someone who's definitely focused on the financials and someone else who's focused on the engineering and the safety of these planes?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch this. Say that again?
Well, do you think this could be a moment where you see almost a split at the top for how Boeing is run? Someone who's an engineer mind versus someone who's more financially focused?
Well, so, I mean, every organization has sort of their top engineering officer, their top safety officer, and Boeing's no different. So they've already got that inside the structure. I don't see a split so much. I think that the CEO of Boeing knew, whatever the new CEO is going to be, they need to be someone that's really had a really strong amount of experience, again, sort of in quality manufacturing and with good engineering at the core of the business that they ran. So I still think it needs to be inculcated all the way at the top, and you can't necessarily split those job roles up. You need someone that thinks that way, I think.